This is the Influencer Entrepreneurs Podcast with Jenny Melrose, where I strategize with business owners on how to grow and scale their businesses to hit their income goals. This is episode 162 of the Influencer Entrepreneurs Podcast with Jenny Melrose. Today, I am talking to Crystal Rose, and we're going to be talking about the importance of a business vision statement. So you're going to hear that Crystal not only has one business, but she has two. And she's going to be talking about her mission statement and how they have helped her actually continue to succeed as she has changed things in her businesses. So before we dive into that, I also wanted to let you know that one of Crystal's businesses, Mental Message, which you'll be hearing more about, is actually part of one of our sponsors for Influencer Entrepreneurs Academy, but it's a little bit different kind of a sponsor. They're non-for-profit, and for every ticket purchased, we're donating 10% of the proceeds to Mental Message because it is a non-for-profit organization. So we are partnering with them in order to help bring forth that mission that Crystal has for Mental Message. What we wanted to be able to do is for all of you, we wanted to be able to help you get to Influencer Entrepreneurs Academy. So right now with the code KINDNESS, you can get $100 off the price of your ticket to Influencer Entrepreneurs Academy. We will link to the conference so that you can make sure that you hop over there and just use the code KINDNESS so that you can get that $100 off. Plus, 10% of the proceeds will go to Mental Message. All right, let's dive into this episode. Hi, Crystal. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I am so excited to have you back on the podcast. And I get to say back. I think this is one of the first times I've been able to say back because you were on the podcast back on episode 12.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And this is 162. So that was quite some time. But I'm really excited to show everyone and talk about the ginormous, I feel like, strides you've taken in your business and businesses now. But before we get into that, will you introduce yourself and your businesses?
Yeah. So my name is Crystal Rose, and I'm the owner of Rebellia, which is an online clothing store for chicks with muscles. And I am also the founder of Mental Message, which is a nonprofit to help people in the mental health space.
Awesome. Yes. And I am so excited to really dive into a little bit about where you feel like that's looking to go. But before we get to that, can we talk a little bit about Rebellia? Because I want to say in the episode 12, when we talked, you were in the very early stages of it, trying to figure out what that was going to look like. And you definitely didn't have the brick and mortar store. So can you tell us a little bit about the growth that you have seen with that side of your business?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that when I was on with you before, I had a very different business model because my target customer has muscles and curves that are sort of unique and not so much that standard society clothing fit. We originally, we would purchase our clothing wholesale and then we would tailor to fit. So we didn't have sizing. We took our customers' measurements. They sent us their measurements.
Okay. Yeah. I remember that. That's
yeah.
Right.
So we ran with that for about a year. I don't know how we stayed in business with that business model because it was very, very tough to get people, if you don't have PayPal on your website, people are gone. If you're lying there in the middle of the night or late at night in bed scrolling the internet and you see something pretty, you're just not going to stop and make a purchase if it's difficult. So no one's hopping out of bed to take their own measurements.
Right.
But we had the right idea. And after about a year of that, I had to stop and ask myself, okay, this isn't working. I still want to complete my vision. The whole point of this is my vision of helping women find clothing, that fits them. So will my vision still be intact if we make changes? And I realized the answer was yes, if I realized I had to be a better buyer. I had to be better at my job and make sure that everything I purchase for our store is, either has stretch or a little bit of give or is cut a certain way so that women with muscles and, that unique body style would have an easier time fitting them, and we wouldn't have to tailor. So we have been running with that model for almost 2 years now. It's definitely changed things quite a bit for us, and made a lot easier for people to purchase and shop with us.
And you now have the brick and mortar store as well.
Well, we do. So we have a headquarters. It's basically like our warehouse and our office, but we do have a little small, like mini storefront in the front of it. Yes. And we're open by appointment, and we host little events and stuff in there too.
Yes. And you have that gorgeous, the butterfly wings, right, on the wall.
Yeah. They're like pinky, sort of angel wings, sort of butterfly. Yeah.
Yes, they're so pretty. Oh my goodness. Yes. What would you attribute the success of keeping Rebellia, even with that business model initially? What would you attribute the success to?
I think a lot of it has to do with self-awareness, and the willingness to, I guess, self-assess and assess the business and say, okay, what's working, what's not working, or what's not working anymore? How can I get better? And I think that when you're a founder, you're an owner, and you ask yourself repeatedly, how can I get better? What can I do better? You're going to bridge that gap from where you are to where you want to be a lot faster than if you were just determined to stick to your original idea, or, what isn't necessarily working because maybe you're too prideful to see that maybe you're wrong.
Yes. I actually had one of those aha moments recently with Arden, who we both know.
Yeah.
We were talking about my audience, and I said, oh, my audience is 35 to 45. And she says to me, why not 25 to 35? And I was like, well, because, oh yeah, that's dumb. Right. Okay. Good point. Yeah. That makes sense. That definitely does. I could definitely help those women as well that are business owners. It is that ability to be flexible and willing to really see if you have a vision for your business, you shift and make those changes to it. So I love that. Do you have a mission statement for Rebellia?
Yeah, I mean, our mission is really just to provide stylish, quality clothes to women with muscles and curves that actually fit.
Yes. And I think that to me, you stuck by that. Mm-hmm. You just found different ways to make it work for them, with the way that your customer was actually looking to purchase. Because I do think that that's a huge piece is, like you said, you're scrolling through, it's quick. They want something easy. They're not going to hop out and take measurements. It's just
right. And I mean, I can't just get stuff because it's pretty. There are like jumpsuits, for example, that are woven and they don't move, they don't give at all. And I can't buy those as beautiful as they are, or, certain blazers or flannels, just things that don't fit what we need. I just have to bypass it or find another way or seek out the right materials. Otherwise, I'm stuck with something that just isn't going to work and make people happy ultimately.
Right. And I saw, actually, it's funny that you said about the blazer, because I just saw that on your Instagram yesterday. Did you post it yesterday?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was adorable. I was like, ooh, I think that would fit me. I want that.
Yeah. Yeah. I get very excited when I find something that like traditionally wouldn't work, and works for us. So
yes. No, that's awesome. Now tell me a little bit about Mental Message, because this is like your baby, I feel like right now, or second baby almost.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel like Mental Message is more of like where I'm going, like my legacy. You know what I mean? Like, I think that Rebellia is more of like, I saw a problem in the consumer space and wanted to fix it. And it's a personal problem as well. Mental Message is really a lot about me starting to share about my mental health, realizing there's a lot of people out there that are struggling with it. Not necessarily that they have a diagnosed mental illness, but that they struggle, with anxiety, depression. My mother actually came out as bipolar in the summer of 2018, which really had me take an entire new look at my life through a different lens. And just I like re-look at my childhood and what things that I thought, and now they make a lot more sense. And so that was kind of going on. And then also I went to a boarding school that, it was for a lot of troubled kids. And a lot of these people I went to school with have been completely consumed by their demons, and they have either died from suicide or overdose. And it was February of last year, and there was a local girl who I was kind of rivals with at first, and then we became friends, and she took her life. And just seeing everyone's posts and comments and messages and write-ups and everything, like she was very popular locally, and just everyone saying how she lit up a room and how she was, such a light to all these people. And I just thought to myself, would this have changed things if she had read all of these in her darkest moments, or was able to hear these things in her darkest moments? Would she have waited another day, or put it on hold, or maybe sought help, or realized that, she is loved, even though she might have felt very, very alone? And just from personal experience, when I feel so alone and like I can't reach out to anyone, my answer would be yes. I think so. So I was like, there's got to be a way to, how can we get messages like this to people who are struggling before it becomes that point where they don't feel like they have a way out. And I was flying back from Phoenix, and it was funny because I always work on planes, and the internet wasn't working on the plane. And of course, I was like, I have all this work to do. And I didn't bring a book, and I didn't feel like playing a game on my phone. And then suddenly, like, my brain just started thinking about this because it was very fresh. It just happened. And I just started frantically writing down notes, and I thought of this idea of an app that would send you audio messages daily, weekly, however you felt you need it, positive, uplifting messages about how you being worthy and your place in the world is important and you belong here and things like that. And it just kind of like, I sat on it for a couple days before I brought it to anyone else's attention, because I tend to get very excited about ideas and then just go, run with them. But I ran it by a couple of people I trust a lot, and they were like, I think that's an excellent idea. I'd love to be a part of it. And so I kind of just went with it and got it rolling.
So it's just, I feel like this time in day and age, it seems like more people are starting to talk about the struggles that they have, where in the past, it was almost like you hid it behind closed doors. It was faux pas. You didn't want to bring it up. And I think that the fact that you're willing to share your story, right, and be able to let those people to connect to that, and then come up with a solution, a way in which you can uplift them. I think it's so valuable. What would you say is the mission statement for Mental Message?
So the mission of Mental Message is to provide those suffering with their mental health and their loved ones access to support, education, understanding, and human connection through technology.
I love it. And it's that human connection piece while uplifting, right? Like it just feel like that's what people often are missing and could use. And right. A lot of times, like you said, when you're in that dark place, you don't feel like you can be the one to reach out.
Right.
So to have something like that can get into your inbox or get into you, like an app, like you're saying, I just think is going to be so valuable. I actually recently read Nicole Lapin's Becoming Superwoman and her story of being hospitalized and the psych ward and how raw it was. How have you been getting out the word about your mission with Mental Message?
So I talk a lot about it on social media. I have a decent following on Instagram and then, Facebook. And then I also have a private Facebook group for Rebellia. So I share a lot there. I feel like that's where I'm going to get it out the most. And, I talk a little bit out on my podcast. I have a Self-Love Sunday email that goes out every Sunday. So I always talk about what's going on with me. Because I know that people look to me, there are people who might be a few steps behind me or several steps behind me. And even some that are a few steps ahead of me that look to me as someone that they appreciate and admire. And so when I'm stepping out and telling people what I'm going through, and then they see me, being successful, working really hard, doing what I'm doing on a regular basis, my hope and what I have heard is that they feel, oh, wow, like if she can do it, so can I. Or if she's gone through all of this, like I've got to be able to do that too. So that's really, there are a few different avenues, but that's really how I've been just getting it out and talking about what I go through.
Yes. And I think Instagram stories, I know that Instagram, you have a great following over there, tons of engagement. And I think it really gives people a chance to connect with you, to know you as a person. And like you said, a lot of people, I'm sure, see you and you're so put together and you have this successful business. I know you've done publicity on local news channels in the Charlotte area. So to know that you're struggling with that and sharing that, giving them that chance to really connect and see themselves almost in you is just so beneficial.
Yeah. And I have done a couple of speaking engagements last year. And so that's something I'm looking to do more of, is to get into different speaking engagements, whether it be in a business setting or, in a mental health sort of situation. But yeah, I definitely think that if you have a voice, then you should use it. And I would be remiss if I didn't use mine. So.
Yes. So one of the things that I'm really excited about is that we are partnering with you through Influencer Entrepreneurs Academy so that any purchases made for attendees that are coming to the conference, we're actually doing 10% of the proceeds are going to Mental Message, because this is something I truly, truly believe in. I see a lot of this with my clients. I see it, I have my moments too. And knowing that there's someone out there trying to get the message out there and really talk about it I just think is so beneficial and so needed.
Thank you. I mean, seriously, thank you for what you're doing. I really appreciate it. It's huge helping us.
No, of course. Is there anything else we can do to aid in your mission? Like people that are out there, like what would be beneficial to really spread the word and help you?
So there are several ways that you can actually help us. We are a 501c3, so all donations are tax deductible. Since we are trying to build an app that's really our main focus right now, apps aren't cheap. So that's really, we're looking for different ways to donate. So if you are on Amazon, if you shop regularly on Amazon, we do partner with Smile, Amazon Smile. So if you go to smile.amazon.com and you always shop through smile.amazon.com, you can put us in as your charity of choice. So I believe it's 0.5% of all of your sales go to our charity. So that's one way. Another way is that through our Facebook page, the Mental Message Facebook page, you can either donate there directly or you can start a fundraiser. So I know a lot of people like to do fundraisers for their birthdays or for different events, or even just to raise money. So you can do that there and run your own fundraiser for us, and we would love that. If you have connections to other businesses or businesses that are looking to either create awareness in the mental health space or contribute to that, we would love the introduction. 100% would be amazing. And just things like what you're doing, because I think it's going to take more than just individuals here and there. I think in order for us to fund this app and do it, relatively quickly, it's going to take larger efforts. And we are, I am partnering with someone. We're doing a mental health summit this May for Mental Health Awareness Month. So a quarter of the proceeds, I believe, are going to that as well. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways, I think. And if you don't have the means, then you can always, like I said, start a fundraiser or tell people.
Perfect. No, we're going to link to that for sure in the show notes, that we have all those different options. Where else, so that if someone did know maybe an app developer or had an idea of a business that you could go to, where are the best places to get in contact with you?
So our email is hello@mentalmessage.org. So you can always just email us there or send us a message through our Facebook, but the email is probably the best place to get us.
Okay. And then also, what's your Instagram? Because I know that people are going to want to see your story.
Yeah. So my personal Instagram is @Xtalrose, XTALROSE. But we also have a mental message. Instagram, it's mental_message. And then Rebellia is at Rebellia Clothing.
Okay. Perfect. We're going to link to those as well. And you guys know the drill. If you are listening and you take a screenshot, make sure that you put it up on stories and tag us. We want to make sure that we are able to interact with you and talk with you all about that. Crystal, I am so excited to have you at the conference, for people to get to meet you, put the name behind the wonderful thing that you're trying to put out there. And I so appreciate you taking the time to chat with my audience.
I so appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right. Well, there you have it. Crystal has done great things in both of her businesses. And we, like I said in the interview, are so excited to get to partner with her for Influencer Entrepreneurs Academy, where for every ticket purchase, we'll be donating 10% of the proceeds to Mental Message to help with her vision and mission to help create that app. So I hope that I will see you at the conference. Like we said in the episode, there are other ways that you can get involved, but we'd love to be able to have you right there in person and give you the opportunity to meet the person behind the non-for-profit. I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure that you tag us on Instagram. If you take a screenshot of the podcast that you're listening to and put it up on Instagram stories, you can tag me at Jenny_Melrose, as well as Crystal at AxtalRose. I'm on Instagram as well, and we will get back to you with a message thanking you for sharing, of course, and also just seeing what you're finding interesting about the episode. All right, guys, until next time, I will see you all then.